Thanks, Corey. A good one brewing here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Almost 5 minutes old. It's a top 20 matchup. Michigan trying to sweep the #1 team in the nation, Notre Dame. The Wolverines wearing the white sweaters because we're in Ann Arbor, and inside Yost Ice Arena's Dexter Danks a little ornery along the near boards with Cal Burke. Morrison ahead to Calderon. A lot of cover back for Notre Dame. Calderon will swing it wide, trying to utilize the speed. There's Cooper Marody. Luke Martin, Sam Piazza, Calderon, save, Cale Morris. Went back in front, still Calderon off the crossbar. Michigan buzzing here early and keeping on the pressure. Wired along the wall, Cooper Marody, Luke Martin, glove save, Cale Morris, and finally a little relief for Notre Dame. Take a quick break. Notre Dame lucky so far not to absorb an opening goal. Hockey on BTN is brought to you by State Farm, here to help life go right. Zingerman's been there. Legendary, even at Detroit Metro Airport represented. And this is what the guys are playing for tonight, our State Farm State of Success. 2 weeks left in the regular season, and here's a glance at the standings.
Irish, the Big Ten regular season champions. Ohio State has second place locked down. Will host Michigan State in a best-of-3 quarterfinal series. Michigan and Minnesota, third place still to be settled. Wolverines can really aid their own cause of finishing third with a win here in this one in a sweep of the Irish.
Dawson Cook will break things out for Notre Dame. Stevens shoots it in on the retrieval. Cutler, Martin. Warren kind of flubbed it, so it allows Notre Dame to keep it in. Checking what's ahead. Warren, they're unable to knock it down. It was elevated. Torrey Dello on the point. Raby failing to clear it. No more pressure here from the Notre Dame forecheck. Bobby Nardella spotted Bo Brower. Nardella, the offensive defenseman for Notre Dame. He can stick handle as well. Brower there, reaching back. We'll have to regroup. You can call him Bo, Big Ten Network Brower. He flourished last time on a BTN game earlier this year. He's a big body, and he can produce some points when presented.
And his dad, Bill, and his name's Bill. His dad, Bill, played for Red Berenson for a couple of seasons early in Red's tenure as head coach of the Wolverines.
Jeff Jackson's Notre Dame's head coach is starting to feel like a mini Red Berenson when he's starting to recruit players like Brian Ralston's son. Everything circles back. Mike Pastujov up front here with Becker and his older brother Nick Pastujov, number 91. Hellickson right up the middle, and that's the right route.
And the Wolverines coaching staff thought that Nick Pastujov had his best game as a Wolverine Friday night in South Bend. Set up a big goal by his brother.
10 NHL draft picks on this Michigan team, the third most in the nation. Mike Pastujov at the end of a shift, so he'll alertly dump it in. Shots 8-0 in favor of Michigan. Almost halfway through this opening period.
Jeff Jackson has been concerned about his team's starts. Was not going well early in the season. Thought they had it figured out, but regressed Friday night in South Bend when Michigan got off to a great first period start with a 2-0 lead and big shot advantage.
Slaker, the crunching hit there on Gilbert. Bouncing puck settled down by Morrison. Jake Evans looking for a little room short side, but Hayden Levine was down to make the save. Well, Jeff Jackson, right now his team is playing for NCAA seeding. They've clinched the regular season championship, and it's a challenge to convince 19-year-olds that these games are that important as the games earlier in the year. And you certainly don't want to coast into the playoffs, though, Fred, is they've done that since they've clinched.
Yeah, motivationally, it's a bit of a quandary. Jeff knows that through social media, all the kids know, where they are in terms of being ranked number one. But you don't play for rankings. You play for trophies. They've already clinched one, but they don't get an opportunity to play for another one for 3 weeks or so. So how do you keep them sharp and fresh and game ready and game sharp in the interim?
Because this is really the first rough patch they've hit all season, and it started after that clinching game.
It may have started earlier than that. This Michigan team, they played January 5th and 7th, and Michigan lost a couple of 2-1 games, but they thought they played really well. Notre Dame then beat Wisconsin in the game, and then Wisconsin ended their 16-game winning streak with that 5-0 shutout at the United Center in Chicago, and that started this current spell for the Irish of 3-4-1 in their last 8 games.
Dawson, Cook, Raby right on him. And Raby steals the puck. Notre Dame holding in for a moment. Bounced over the stick of Adam Winborg. Stevens will backhand it in. Jenkins racing in there. Raby, he's a smaller forward, but pretty sturdy along the boards.
And the first player Mel Pearson's ever coached that was a member of his surfing team in high school. Capistrano Beach, California.
With the growth of the game, we'll probably see more. There's Bo Brower on the forecheck. Hughes there. Takes it away. His escapability is what is the best they say about Quinn Hughes. So elusive. Nardella winds and fires. That's softened by Quinn Hughes wide. Jack Becker, long shot. Morris the save and the rebound off the back of the net. Pastujov fights for it in front. Both the Pastujov brothers. Luke Martin. Sam Piazza right back to Martin. The low drive is blocked by Bobby Nardella, and here comes Notre Dame. The end of a shift, so Brower will lift it in.
Good to see the Pastujov brothers have added some tenacity to their game. They're playing with that desperation. Shift in, shift out, that you need to be successful.
The two teamed up for a goal last night. Becker, Piazza, Mike Pastujov looking to create a rebound, but instead it's deflected out of play off of the stick of Cale Morris. Shots 11-1 in favor of Michigan. Cale Morris has been a busy goaltender. Well, you play for trophies, and that's what Notre Dame captured in front of their home fans. Big Ten champions, 6th conference title all time.
And the other 5 coming in the now defunct Central Collegiate Hockey Association. And it was actually the second trophy that young man raised this season. Also a part of Canada's successful Spengler Cup team over the Christmas holidays.
Saccone. So the last time they've captured a regular season championship, Fred Pletcher, were the commissioner, handing it off to the Notre Dame guys.
Yeah, handing off the Mason Cup, named after Michigan State's legendary coach Ron Mason.
Slaker off the skate of Quinn Hughes. No one can accept that pass. Winding up. Top point producer on the blue line, Jordan Gross. Just the 6th defenseman in Notre Dame hockey history to hit the century mark earlier this year, and here an icing. Well, download BTN to go and BTN Plus to catch your favorite Big Ten hockey teams all season long. Don't miss a single moment. Download today in the App Store and Google Play. Michigan will end up the regular season you see there next weekend against Arizona State. Could see a little friction.
Yeah, and glad that there is an independent member left in college hockey, because 7 teams in the Big Ten, a bye that someone would have from conference play to Michigan this year, so they're able to continue playing by hosting Arizona State.
Arizona State involved in a little melee.
Little brouhaha up in Houghton, Michigan. The UP.
Billy McCall, the assistant coach from Michigan, said it might just be that time of the year. We're up there, 6 feet of snow, a little cabin fever. The guys get angry.
Well, Billy knows firsthand because he was Mel Pearson's assistant up there during Mel's run with the Huskies.
Calderon, Saccone. The wrist shot tipped. Morris hangs with it. Cooper Marody and Dexter Danks. Calderon fishing for it. But it's recovered by Notre Dame. Dylan Malmquist. Cal Burke. Ogilvie back to Burke. Hayden Levine, a big save there, his first test. A pretty passing play by Notre Dame.
And that's just pure focus by Hayden Levine because he has not seen much of the rubber so far tonight.
Burke, Bo Brower, number 29 there in the far corner for Notre Dame. Jake Evans, the assist leader, 6th in the conference, the Toronto native. He's the whole package for Notre Dame. Hayden Levine whips it up the boards. Kept in by the Fighting Irish and their captain, Jake Evans. Wegworth. Big guys out there on the ice here for Notre Dame. But it's Raby the other way, 2-on-2, drops it off, trying to get it back from Brendan Warren. Winborg there as well as Brower. To the line, not out. Cutler Martin, the drive right into the chest of Cale Morris.
Cale Morris has to be ready for anything. And with this shot here, it's tipped by Cooper Marody. The good thing is there was not any traffic in front, so he was able to have a good line of sight and react. And the other way, watch Hayden Levine with a good push left or right to left and had the side of the net sealed with the pad. Good stop.
There's Andrew Ogilvie with that wonderful pass that almost led to the first goal of this game. Chipped out by Nick Pastioff. Gross off of Jenkins. There's Boca to glove it down. Boca just out, pounded right back in by Hellickson.
Remember, Notre Dame plays 7 defensemen, and that allows them to get some of their better forwards a little more ice time, although in this situation with an off day between games, you know that Mel Pearson will play his top guys tons too.
Becker, Mike Pastioff. That pass handcuffed him a bit initially, and then it's trapped by goaltender Cale Morris.
Well, you can see the frantic pace to this game, and you know the Pastioff brothers out of Bradenton, Florida. Nick, a draft pick of the New York Islanders, and Michael, just 18, the 4th youngest player in college hockey. They've got a lot of skill. Skill's never been an issue. It's kind of their defensive play, and it's sharpened up in the last couple of months, and adding the hardworking Jack Becker to the line, they've got something going now.
Probably put on a circus act as well as they want to with their family background. Luke Martin hustling to hold in. Norris back and forth. James Sanchez in front. Sanchez looking for the rebound, pushed away by Notre Dame, but not out of trouble. Slaker low drive. That's blocked. Jake Evans got in the way of that one. Snapped in by Norris, barely staying in play. Slaker, 1 against 2. And out of the dust, it's Cam Morrison. Ooh, Sanchez had him lined up. Solid hit there. Jake Slaker shooting. Cale Morris gets the pad down, leaks in front. Tyson there. That's twice Notre Dame had a chance to clear it, but this time it's safely skated to center by Tyson as his teammates are changing. Haven't seen a lot of penalties, it seems, around the Big Ten Hockey Conference here late in the season. A lot on the line.
Very disciplined play, and Notre Dame is the least penalized team in the Big Ten.
Andrew Ogilvie, nice move, backhand shot, several inches over the crossbar. Cooper Marody. with Dennis Gilbert. He's a highly regarded defenseman. Draft choice of the Chicago Blackhawks. He didn't enjoy the best first period the other night, but he had some company. So looking to bounce back. Here the low drive blocked by Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, Jeff Jackson says it reminds him a little of maybe Ian Cole, Stephen Johns, a couple of players in the NHL with Pittsburgh and Dallas respectively. But you got to figure out what kind of player do you want to be? Offensive defenseman, defensive defenseman. He projects as more of a defensive type at the NHL level as a pro.
Yeah, a little more difficult to put up points consistently from the blue line at the NHL level. Winborg takes a glance, see who's coming, and he'll lob it out, just played into space. There's 4 minutes to go in the period. Warren blows a tire. A little more of an opening and an easy breakout for Notre Dame. Squeezed off there was Jack Jenkins. Dello, the rink-wide feed. Here's Jack Jenkins again. Hayden Levine easily shoos that to the corner. Raby, the blind pass. It's helped in by Warren. 50-50 puck. Ogilvie and Boca go down like bowling pins, and Boca slow to get up for Michigan. He struggles to get back up on both skates. Nicholas Boca. Ogilvie's drive off the pad of Levine. Ogilvie again, and that's shot wide as Notre Dame's been getting better as this period goes on. Ogilvie, Hellickson pass off his skate so he couldn't release it. Bo Brouwer, Hellickson, you hear it thump off the chest protector of Hayden Levine. Cale Morris trying to trick the veteran, but so far still shutout hockey despite facing a lot of early shots. Working with Nicholas Boca as we saw him slow to get up after that last confrontation in the corner in a 50-50 puck race.
Yeah, this is just an example of intestinal fortitude. Watch the right leg of Nick Boca as he goes in. With Andrew Ogilvie, the associate captain. And it's the right leg is an issue. And he got up and he thought about staying down, but play went on for a good 30 seconds. And Nick Boca, the 20-year-old from Plymouth, Michigan, just sucked it up and stayed in the play.
Looked like Andrew Ogilvie was in danger of going ankle first into the boards as well, but kind of cushioned by Nicholas Boca. Boca took the brunt.
Little depth on the back end for the Wolverines. They've got Griffin Luce sitting out tonight as Cutler Martin works his way back into the lineup.
Norris, the first rounder of the San Jose Sharks. Josh Norris, number 9, but now watching Notre Dame buzz down the ice. Morrison to Jake Evans. Slaker there to bump him. He'll kick it back to Gross, changing directions a few times. Ends up on the stick of Hayden Levine. Norris breaks a stick but gets to the bench and is replaced. Looking for the deflection was Morrison, and then the rebound chance off the boards. Ogilvie. Low drive. And an early quick whistle is Hayden Levine making the stop.
Well, Jeff Jackson told us that Cam Morrison may be snake bitten most of the season, and this is a great read by Andrew Peak. Watch the vision of Andrew Peak, the second rounder of the Colorado Avalanche. Spots Morrison right there, just missed the tip, and he had another chance when it came ricocheting off the backboards.
Levine working hard to get a sight line on all those pucks. Bobby Nardella, Dylan Malmquist. Nardella, I don't think Levine saw that, but he felt it off his left pad. Joseph Ciccone will toss it in. Minute 20 to go in the period. Dylan Malmquist takes from Andrew Ogilvy. Back to Ogilvy, the one-timer, and looking calm and cool, making the save as he warms into this game, Hayden Levine.
And this is an impressive display by Hayden Levine, and I'll tell you why, because he watched the Hobey Baker candidate, Cale Morris, at the other end of the rink, stop the first 10 or 11 shots of the game, and he's sitting back saying he knows the Irish are coming, and they've really picked it up, but he's been equal to every task so far and looked comfortable doing it. He's not fighting it. Good rebound control, everything going his way.
One of the few blemishes this early in the season for Notre Dame was getting off to poor starts. They were off to a slow start tonight, but thanks to Cale Morris, no blood. Our Owner's Insurance intermission report is upcoming after this opening period with Michelle McMahon and Paul Caponegri. Piazza with Hellickson right over his shoulder. Goes down to make a play. Jack Becker will dump it in. Nardella on the retrieval right up the middle. Tyson. Jake Evans 1 against 3. He's knocked down by Ciccone. That's the first penalty of this game, and it's going to go on Dennis Gilbert perhaps, or Cutler Martin, I believe.
Well, if there is a penalty, yeah, it was Cutler Martin with the hit. And it's actually a slashing call going against Michael Pastja. So good news for the Wolverines, just 21.9 seconds left in the period. The bad news is Notre Dame's power play on the season against Notre Dame, or Notre Dame's power play against Michigan, is 5 for 10. 5 goals in just 10 chances.
It's a pretty good clip. 17th ranked power play goes to the work for the first time, our Arcelor Middle power play. Bobby Nardella. Gross faking the shot. Evans taking it. It was available in front there for a moment, but it's cleared to the line by Norris, but not out. Nardella, that's tipped wide by Evans, and then Levine gets back in a hurry to close the door there for the final second try.
Well, true to form, Jake Evans and the Irish with good chances, even though they had less than 22 seconds with which to work on the power play. And Hayden Levine, at least through the first 20 minutes, has matched his Hobey Baker candidate counterpart, Cale Morris, save for save here at Yost Ice Arena.
There in the dying seconds of the period, so Notre Dame will start off the second period with a power play for 1:39. Despite getting outshot and doubled up there 16-8, Notre Dame, they're pretty satisfied, or they should be, that they didn't allow any goals. Thanks to Cale Morris's work here on the University of Michigan campus, scoreless after 20 minutes inside Yost Arena.
To this Auto Owners Insurance Intermission Report alongside Paul Caponegri. I'm Michelle McMahon. Last time the Michigan Wolverines and Notre Dame met in South Bend on Friday night, Michigan upstaged top-ranked Notre Dame. A lot on the line tonight, same level of desperation as we would expect.
Yeah, and mostly people think it's Michigan, but at this point, Notre Dame has lost 2 in a row. You say that's not that much, but the way their season has gone, the 2 games is a lot for them, and a lot to tighten up before they get prepared for the end of the season.
So we're scoreless through 20 minutes of action, but Michigan is buzzing, and they've applied the pressure to create some turnovers for Notre Dame.
They have, and I mean, I think the big thing about that is when a desperate team comes into the weekend, you're at home, you know, Yost Ice Arena is buzzing. Notre Dame is, they're good at holding the pressure, but we'll see how that works out.
All right, let's reflect back on the first period highlights. Michigan trying to do the same thing they did on Friday night. We start in the first period scoreless, as we mentioned. Joseph Ciccone fires one. Cale Morris comes up with a save. Take another look. Nice recovery there by Morris.
Yeah, nice reaction. That's why he is a Hobie Baker candidate.
Still tied up with no goals. Moments later, Notre Dame on the attack. Hayden Levine, though, would answer with a nice play here.
Michelle, great save. I mean, at that point, Notre Dame had one shot. Levine had not seen much. Nice reaction when he's been cold.
Hayden Levine had 34 saves on Friday night, came up big, but what's been the difference maker in your mind? Still no goals, but what's something that's jumped out at you?
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about it a little bit, was the offense. You knew Michigan was going to come out flying, and I felt like they did. They caused some turnovers early on in the game, and I thought Michigan really got out to a hot start. And Notre Dame is usually really good at, you know, staying out of trouble, not making mistakes, but the pressure from Michigan did cause some turnovers and created some chances. Sometimes they got the turnover, it didn't turn into a scoring chance, but at the same time, those things can kind of start building for a team. You didn't see anything really get created off of this one, but also the physical play. That is something that Michigan can take advantage of. You make a hit at center ice, you get another scoring chance by Jake Slaker there. So good things from Michigan. I thought I saw at the end of the period, Notre Dame gets a power play. They started seizing a little momentum because they do a good job of kind of working past, getting that pressure early, and then handling it and moving on into the next phase of the game.
So Notre Dame will look to capitalize with some momentum in the second, starting on that power play. But if Michigan is able to win this game, what does that mean big picture for the Wolverines?
I mean, it's huge. It's going to move them. You know, they've already locked up a national home ice in the first round of the Big Ten, but nationally it would really move them into a spot in the national tournament where they wouldn't be as unsafe. They'd move off the bubble and kind of onto the good side of the bubble.
All right, still a lot on the line here. There's still plenty more of hockey action to come from Ann Arbor as we go to break here for just a quick moment. When we come back, we'll have more reaction from Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Yost Ice Arena. Still a scoreless game through 20 minutes. What's going to happen in a second? We'll discuss right after this. Back on the Auto Owners Insurance Intermission Report. Here is the final weekend of action in men's Big Ten hockey. Michigan wrapping up their last weekend of play out of conference against Arizona State. You have Michigan State taking on top-ranked Notre Dame. Wisconsin at number 6, Ohio State. That's going to be an interesting one. And how about two ranked teams, Minnesota and Penn State, all squaring off in the final weekend of play before they head to the Big Ten tournament game. As we welcome you back to our Chicago studios, rejoined by Paul Caponegri, I'm Michelle McMahon. Which games on that list are you looking out for this upcoming weekend?
Yeah, I mean, well, I gotta say all of them, of course. I mean, they're all important, but I think a couple that stood out to me, the Penn State, Minnesota is big for a couple reasons. Minnesota needs 2 more points to get home ice advantage. We've seen them at Mariucci. They're very good there. They excel, so that's important for them. Penn State needs the wins. They got a win at Michigan State yesterday, but they need to get a sweep here if they want to get back into the pairwise and move up to where they're not worried about just winning the Big Ten tournament. Like you mentioned with Wisconsin and Ohio State, Wisconsin had the weekend off. Tony Granato's away over at the Olympics, so they've had some time to swell over that Minnesota loss sweep 2 weeks ago, so they got to go into a tough environment with Ohio State. And then the last one, the non-conference that you talked about with Arizona State going into Michigan. It's a tough, you're going to see how today plays out for Michigan, but they're going into that weekend. Arizona State's a brand new Division I team. They've struggled as coming on, so really Michigan needing to win those 2 games without question if they want to stay. Maybe they end up 12 today if they beat Notre Dame, but those are the key spots for Michigan to not, you know, take Arizona State lightly. So that's a big one.
But it's safe to say if Michigan can take out Notre Dame today, they'll be in good position regardless of what happens. So as we look ahead to the game that's at stake now for Michigan, Notre Dame, the second period, Notre Dame starting on a power play. So what does Michigan need to get back to that worked on Friday night? And on the flip side for Notre Dame, what worked for them? Yeah, well, what's worked for Notre Dame this year offensively against Michigan has been the power play. So this is going to be a really key about minute 40. You got the fresh sheet of ice. So it's going to be interesting to see if Michigan can get past that and move forward and get back to where they were before
before they got the penalty, because I think Notre Dame 5 power play goals against Michigan in the 3 games. That's been the most of their offense. So if they can get past that and get back to where causing turnovers like they did and then getting that first goal, I think the first goal is going to be so big for either team. Both goaltenders are playing so well. Hayden Levine, like you said, he hadn't had any shots. All of a sudden he gets a bang-bang cross-ice pass and makes the save. So Cale Morris and Hayden Levine are very important.
And as we mentioned, Levine had 34 saves on Friday night. How important is it for Michigan to maintain that consistent goaltending that they've been looking for all season?
Yeah, because like you said, they were looking for it the first half of the season, and Hayden Levine kind of took over the reins around Christmas time, and he's been fantastic for him. It's the reason they have gotten back into the national tournament conversation at an at-large bid. So, Cale Morris has had a couple games. I mean, he's human. He's given up four goals in 2 games back-to-back, which is the first time he did that all year. Shows how ridiculously good he's been all season. So it's funny how playing at the big times at the end of the season, Hayden Levine's doing that, and Cale Morris is trying to get back to
Yeah, maybe peaking at the right time. But for a team like Notre Dame, do you see them making yet another Frozen Four appearance? Is this the caliber of team that we would expect to see in the finals?
I think they have all the ingredients. Their biggest strengths, goaltending and defense, and then they have a solid up front group, and then Jeff Jackson's their coach. He just has them ready all the time. So I think when you're looking at Notre Dame, you saw them last year get all the way there. Now in the Big Ten, I think it's the way they play their style. They don't get phased. We saw it in the first period. They have a really good shot at getting to where they want to be.
How good has it been to have Notre Dame as an addition?
I mean, I think
bolstering
it's been
the competition.
Absolutely. I think it's been great. And then I think at that time when they had the 16-game winning streak, everyone's like, okay, wait a second. This is a little too much.
Can we uninvite them to the conference?
Yes, a little too much. We wanted you to do well and bring what you had. But you know what? That's a little too much. But it's been great. The name recognition, all that they bring to academically, it's been great. I think it's only going to get better.
Nothing like extending the invite and then looking to revoke the
Wait
invite.
a second here.
Just a little too good. We will have more reaction from Ann Arbor. Get you out to the second period with Dan Kelly and Fred Pletch right after this. Stick around for some good hockey.
About to start the second period here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. No score between the Wolverines and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. And let's look at some of those highlights. No goals in the opening period, but a lot of chances and saves.
Yeah, 24 shots. So cue Hayden Levine and Cale Morris. Levine going post to post and coming back when he was out challenging and in tight, making sure he's upright. And rebounds are falling in front of him to cover. At the other end, the young man with the .947 save percentage, Cale Morris, showing why he leads the nation in wins with 21 on the season. Yeah, he's got a good defense in front of him, but Cale Morris is the real deal, replacing the All-American Cal Peterson.
What a look there on the reactionary save after the deflection. Look at the numbers. Michigan doubling up Notre Dame in shots. Cooper Marody led the way with 3. The face-off circle, Josh Norris for Michigan, 6 for 1. And oh yeah, still on the power play, Notre Dame for 1:39 to start off this second period. And Fred, you've always been an admirer. I call you the president of the fan club for young Quinn Hughes for Michigan, but apparently you're not the only one. There's a fan club assembled, and those are NHL scouts.
Yeah, there's got to be at least 30, maybe 40 NHL scouts here tonight. They're at both ends of the building, and about 20 miles away from here is Plymouth, Michigan, and the USA Hockey Arena, which just hosted the Five Nations tournament. So many of the top U18 players in the world, draft eligible, participating in that. And Quinn Hughes would have been there, except he matriculated through high school early and enrolled at the University of Michigan.
There's the man nicknamed Big Wall, Keith Kachuk, longtime NHLer, and as you can see, he didn't have a problem filling the net. And he's got some kids also that are following in Papa's footsteps.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of players in the Big Ten that he coached in St. Louis. Trent Frederick, Luke Martin, and there's the object of everyone's attention, Quinn Hughes, electrifying. He has the it factor, says his coach Mel Pearson, and if we weren't here in the booth, we'd be paying money to come see him play. He is that good.
Quinn Hughes, the quintessential blue liner, if you will. Just underway here in the second. Notre Dame in the midst of a power play. The only power play so far in the game, and now they can operate on this slick, fast ice. Bobby Nardella straight away. Jordan Gross had a stretch for that, and that allows Michigan Slaker a chance to clear it. On the follow through, they do.
Gross is the key on this power play. 113 shots coming into the game. They'll look to set him up for the one-timer, or he'll creep down and wrist it.
Wegworth scored on the power play last night for Notre Dame. Here's the one-timer as it was slapped wide by Ogilvie. Once again cleared by Michigan. Raby first after it, so Cale Morris will reverse it to Bobby Nardella. You hear the players on the ice. You've got 40, meaning 40 seconds left in this power play. Ogilvie to Nardella. He thought about it. Again, a little hesitant to shoot until the opening appears. Bobby Nardella. Andrew Ogilvie just leaks through to Hayden Levine, who just has to cover it up.
Ogilvie, the one-time option on the left side. And Gross with clean zone entry. Ogilvie will set it up to Nardella, and Ogilvie, the guy they're trying to hit, he leads this Notre Dame team in power play scoring with 6 goals and 14 points, and didn't have the puck right in his wheelhouse for the one-timer.
Burke the face-off win. Hellickson winding, doesn't fire. Wegworth missing it. Hellickson shooting. Levine has it trapped underneath him.
Matt Hellickson with 2 goals and an assist, so a point a game against Michigan this season. The other 29 games he's played, he has a total of 7 points. So when Andrew Peak went to the World Juniors, they put Matt Hellickson on the power play in the second unit and haven't been able to get him off. He's been that good.
That's a good sign. The young defenseman flourishing for Notre Dame. They're going to lose 3 to graduation this offseason.
And depending upon what happens with the junior, Dennis Gilbert, Chicago wants to take a run at him, although Chicago's been very patient with a lot of their organizational drafts.
We'll see if that is maintained after a poor year this season so far. As an offside here, still in the first 2 minutes of the game, and the Notre Dame power play has expired.
Well, Jeff Jackson, talking about his team this week, said, you know, other teams are playing playoff hockey, and the problem is that we're not playing the way we were playing when we were going well during that 16-game winning streak. So everybody else is amped up for the playoffs, and you can understand, I mean, Notre Dame's clinched and cooling, but the coach is not happy with that.
I guess you could at least see how they respond to a little adversity, because they haven't faced much this year. They haven't lost many games as Dexter Danks, Cooper Marody lead the way in for Michigan. That's Danks over skating it. Cal Burke the other way for the Fighting Irish as he softly dumps it in. Bad angle shot off the side of the goal. Calderon flanked by Danks. Hughes is trailing, slapping that stick to make sure he's noticed. Michigan is changing, so some open ice on the breakout here for Gilbert. Peak can't bring it in over the line. This is Dennis Gilbert. Back and forth between he and Andrew Peak. Pastujov dropping to brother Mike. That shot is blocked. It was Peak down there for Notre Dame. Jenkins racing the other way. A lot of Wolverines already back defensively. A little dust up in the near corner and a penalty upcoming to Notre Dame. Extra attacker on for Michigan. Notre Dame gaining possession though, and the whistle sounds. Appears to be a boarding penalty. 2 minutes here. Stevens.
Jeff Jackson's team averaging less than 10 penalty minutes per game. Little interference down in the corner.
Matt Steves in the penalty box. So in our cellar, mid-all power play. Converting just under 16% of the time, Michigan. Notre Dame amongst the best penalty-killing units in college hockey. 4th overall in the nation.
Michigan knows that. They're 0 for 6 against the Irish this season. Don't get many chances.
Slaker looking for Becker. Minute 44 left in this advantage.
Off of Michigan's stick and into the protective netting. So the faceoff comes outside the Notre Dame blue line. Jake Evans, a good guy to have on your team when you're killing penalties because he's the best faceoff man by percentages in the Big Ten. So killing penalties, yeah, your goaltender's got to be good, but it starts with faceoff possession just like that.
He does a lot of little things well.
There's a great backhand passer, which you don't see that often anymore. Very good at finding small areas to get pucks through.
He delayed that Michigan breakout, and now it's Notre Dame shorthanded. Cal Burke swinging wide as he's by himself on this adventure in the offensive zone while his team is shorthanded.
Good to see Boca back out and physical and none the worse for wear after that hit he took along the boards in the first period.
Jack Becker looking for Slaker. It eventually lands on a stick, but it's Evans with the clear. .26 combined shots in this game. Still looking for our first goal. Here, 47 seconds to go on the Wolverine power play. Chucked in by Piazza. The defenseman, Joseph Ciccone, grabs it first. He'll deal it back to the point. Marody right on. It ends up being a simple stop for Cale Morris.
Notre Dame, we've mentioned their PK numbers. They've surrendered just 9 power play goals, or rather 12 power play goals the entire season, while scoring 3 shorthanded. So a net deficit of just -9. Cale Morris has been a big part of that, obviously, but if he only sees 1 shot, either gets a rebound clear or is able to hold.
Quinn Hughes, that pass and skates. Jenkins is able to wedge it by him and out to center. Danks absorbing the hit from Evans right in front of the Notre Dame bench. Ciccone trying to drag it with them. Nice little battle. Finally, out of the dust, it's Tony Calderon. Cooper Marody. Quinn Hughes goes in deep. Ciccone to Marody. Quinn Hughes, the power player's over for Michigan. Oh, and a backdoor chance there for Ciccone. There to stop him, Cale Morris.
Boy, did Quinn Hughes ever thread the needle there and wait patiently for Boca to sneak in from the right point.
Hughes seems to be in a setup mood here early. Dexter Danks, Cooper Marody keeping his pressure on despite the power play being over. Twisting and turning. The elusive Quinn Hughes. Cutler Martin's shot is knocked down in front. And escaping Notre Dame, Steves will drive it in. Icing is the call.
Well, watch Quinn Hughes set up on the half wall. And defensively, you have to have your head on a swivel. And it was the big D-man, Nick Boca, coming in and getting the tip, and Cale Morris equal to the task.
Adam Winborg on the faceoff, the first Swede to play for Michigan since the great Carl Hagelin back in 2011, who lifted the Stanley Cup last season with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
And he did so with a former Notre Dame player in Ian Cole. Yeah, speed was Carl Hagelin's game. World-class speed, Red Berenson said right the first time he saw him.
He plays hard as well. Did so at Michigan in his years. Cutler Martin, speaking of playing hard, rugged defenseman will hold in. Dawson Cook, quick little play because he knew the hits were coming, so he got rid of it. And Steves will dump it in. Next to Fred Pletch, I'm Dan Kelly. Our great BTN crew. It's so good to have you with us. Just 2 college hockey fixtures tonight. The only one in the Big Ten. It's Notre Dame versus Michigan. Michigan wearing the white sweaters. Cal Burke trying to tear in. Cutler Martin got enough of them, and then the follow-through shot coming from Torrey Dello, but Levine has it. We haven't seen too much of this tonight. So about 13 minutes to go in this middle period from Ann Arbor, Michigan. The guys are skating tonight, up and down, creating chances, but still searching for the opening goal. More great BTN hockey next weekend as the Gophers travel to Happy Valley to take on Penn State in a crucial 2-game series. Minnesota, I believe, winners of 6 of their last 7 behind the goaltending of Matt Robson, getting hot. But the good news for Guy Godowski and Penn State, they broke the dry spell last night.
Yeah, with the win at Michigan State. And how many times were we on a conference call this season with Big Ten coaches not named Don Lucia who would say, when's Minnesota going to put it together? There's too much there for them not to be playing well. And they've got it going now, don't they? Torrey Dello and Dakota Raby agreed to disagree after Hayden Levine had smothered the puck, and they'll sit and we'll skate 4-on-4.
Like these two teams need any more skating room. 7 minutes into the second period. There, Cale Morris down on his knees to stop Luke Martin's shot from the boards. A little spray there. The sweater of Cale Morris as he sheds it.
Cale Morris, he reminds you of what Ron Mason used to say of Ryan Miller. It looks like he's wearing Velcro. The way the puck just sticks to him and no rebounds escape.
He's been consistent to get his confidence back up again. Is playing .500 hockey over their last 5 games after a brilliant regular season. And here an easy save. It was right at Cale Morris again, but the key is he doesn't allow rebounds.
Yeah, Cale Morris got pulled a week ago in a game against Ohio State, but Jeff Jackson said it was more of a message to the team that they have to play better and not hang their goalie out to dry. And you want to do that too, because if you give up a lot of goals, even though there could be 2-on-1s, backdoors, odd man rushes, it's going to at some point impact your confidence, and confidence is everything for these guys.
Sacconi's slap shot knocked down in front. Sanchez trying to get a stick to it, unable to. Nick Pastjov stapling Gilbert to the glass. Finally a little hint of a breeze in puck movement. A solid battle as Notre Dame emerging with the puck. Jenkins will shoot it in. Quinn Hughes just glides his way in. Hughes couldn't get the shot away as he was bothered from behind, and that's why the NHL scouts gather to see number 43.
That separation speed of his.
Michigan's coaching staff not shy about saying he's going to do that at the next level too. And I don't mean the AHL, the National Hockey League, as he's expected to be a high first rounder this summer. Cal Burke. Nice little move between the legs of Sacconi. Hughes keeps Jenkins at bay. Almost halfway through this second period. Long toss ahead. Tony Calderon. Good defensive stance there by Jordan Gross, and now he wheels ahead. Andrew Ogilvie, Malmquist shoved aside with the blocker by Levine. Down goes Nicholas Boca. Cooper Marody able to outlet to Dylan Raby. Raby swings wide. That's Peak that hangs with him. Gross run into by Raby. Marody getting physical as well, and then just falls down on the Notre Dame player, Andrew Peak. A little simple outlet, but effective by Ogilvie. So his teammates can change. Tyson goes to the wall with Cutler Martin. There's Boca getting physical on Dylan Malmquist. It's been a disciplined game for the most part between these two teams. Jake Evans, nice little move, but it's Dexter Danks recovering it, but not clearing. Malmquist, that's deflected wide as Evans was hanging around in front. Dexter Danks the other way for Michigan. Notre Dame will safely shoot it over the glass. We look at the footwork of Quinn Hughes again.
Yeah, Michigan's got a great history of first-rounders drafted by the NHL among their defensemen. Zach Werenski and Jeff Gilson and Mike Komisarek, and the list goes on, and this guy will join that list for sure.
Scary thing is, they say his younger brother is on the way up as well, and he might just be even better at that stage.
Yeah, they're talking him, the brother of going #1 overall. And Quinn could be slotted anywhere from 2 to 10.
Jake Evans on his backhand, electing not to shoot. Nardella faking, now taking. Looked to be redirected. Not an issue for Hayden Levine. He's got it covered. 9:27 to go in this second period. Beautiful mild temperatures here in February in the Ann Arbor area. There's Cale the Cat Morris, and he's been pawing everything thrown at him tonight.
Well, Adam Augustine and the hardworking Big Ten Conference communication staff named the Big Ten Hockey 3 Stars of the Week each week, and Cale Morris has been a star on 8 occasions already, including 5 first-star picks. You see that save percentage, .947. The single-season record in college hockey was from the University of Maine netminder, now Detroit Red Wing, Jimmy Howard, .956 back in the 2003-2004 season. So he's not far off, is Cale Morris.
More scoring typically in college hockey, so it's more of a challenge to have those sparkling numbers for a goaltender. Slaker, Sanchez, back to Slaker in front was Norris. Able to direct it on goal. Looking for Slaker in front, but Notre Dame was tuned into that. Under 9 minutes to go in the second period. Evans and the Fighting Irish are offside.
Good solid puck movement among Norris, Slaker, and Sanchez. And Josh Norris, 6'1", 195. Watch him coming down the right side. He goes to the net with authority. And if that's on his stick, he's looking to tuck it between Cale Morris's legs, and he gives Cale Morris a little jolt too with the stick. Made sure he made his presence known to Josh Norris.
He was almost a little too tight there. Gilbert's blast directed off the protective netting, so we'll hear a whistle here.
And Josh Norris was coached last year by a former Notre Dame forward, John Robleski, who was with the National Team Development Program. And Josh Norris finishing first in those 5 tests at the NHL Combine, which certainly impressed the San Jose Sharks. They made him their first-round selection.
He looks like a different player after representing Team USA at the World Junior Tournament, but That's a common occurrence. You see sometimes players will increase their play and production after that tournament, or if they have a poor experience and playing a different role, maybe not power play time, sometimes they can have a little funk coming out of the Christmas tournament.
Yeah, and like Quinn Hughes and Andrew Peak, Notre Dame, Josh Norris has a bronze medal from the World Juniors, and he'll get another chance to play next year. And Mel Pearson coached in that tournament, the World Juniors, back in 1997. He was the assistant coach, and the head coach, the guy behind Notre Dame's bench, Jeff Jackson.
They picked up a medal, a silver, the first one that the Americans had, losing to Team Canada, coached by then Mike Babcock.
And somewhere in his closet, Ben Clymer's got a silver medal from that team, our colleague.
Sure, he was a problem player for the coaching staff back then, a young, immature Ben Clymer, but he made it to the NHL, so good things happen. Here's Andrew Ogilvie swinging it wide on Quinn Hughes. Ogilvie will hang on to it. Gilbert, the dipping one-timer. Levine follows it. Ciccone has Malmquist wrapped up, but not entirely. Wade the blast, thundering off the shin pads of Dexter Danks. Here comes Cooper Marody, dropping to Calderon. The play kind of quiets down along the near boards. A little helicopter up top by Quinn Hughes, and he'll vacate the zone.
It quieted down because there was such great communication among the Notre Dame players as to who's got Hugh on assignments, and now we've got an interference minor going against Cooper Marody, it looks like. Watch number 20, Cooper Marody. Down bottom left, he took Dennis Gilbert's stick and just lifted it right out of his hands at about 20 feet in the air. And Mel Pearson's thinking, maybe not a good one. Watch the left side of the screen, number 20 and number 4 blue. There it goes.
It's like a javelin there, off out of the hands of Gilbert's.
So it could be a tough one to kill. Sometimes those penalties that aren't great ones in terms of preventing a goal or preventing a chance or protecting a teammate or your goalie. We'll see.
Good offensive player in the box right now, Cooper Marody. He can get a breather. And watch his penalty killing units go to work. Evans with speed in across the line. Ogilvie accepting that pass on his backhand. Little movement up top with Ogilvie and Nardella. One-timer coming from Gross, patted aside by Levine. Nardella once again, 1:20 to go on the power play for the Fighting Irish. Andrew Ogilvie, he's a dangerous one, redirected. Levine kicks out the right pad. Nardella, time, room, hammers it, seen it all the way. Hayden Levine.
Yeah, Bobby Nardella, who picked up a goal on Friday night to give him 3 straight 20-point seasons in college. And if he has to do this again, he's going to hold on to it maybe a little bit longer to get Jake Evans and some traffic convergence on Hayden Levine.
Seemed like Michigan's approach in the penalty kill is, yeah, you can have those shots from 55, 60 feet away. We'll leave the point men alone until they move in a little closer. This is Norris. Glove save there by Cale Morris on Josh Norris. Under a minute to go in the advantage for Notre Dame. Malmquist misses the pass, but backing him up is Dennis Gilbert. Cal Burke, Malmquist, he scuffed it. Gilbert shooting high and wide. Corey Dello hustling to keep in. Wegworth to Cal Burke. Malmquist to Wegworth. Burke once again. Corey Dello. Pretty stationary power play right now for Notre Dame. Gilbert. Wegworth is in front. Here comes the shot. Levine the save. Dennis Gilbert fired it from the point. Gilbert faking the shot, gets it back. Single digits left in the power play for Notre Dame. Corey Dello shooting. Levine the save, and with Notre Dame players hovering over him, a good job to hold on to it.
Yeah, a little less puck movement on this second unit. But the problem for Hayden Levine is number 21, Joe Wegworth, 6'3", 225 pounds. And his job is to take away Hayden Levine's eyes. And there's big Joe Wegworth honoring the shot and turning, looking for a rebound. There was none.
Michigan back to full strength. Nick Pastioff has lost his stick. It's broken, so he can't use it. He'll go to the bench and get a new twig. Hellickson. Notre Dame's not afraid to do that. They've done it a few times tonight when there's availability. Go up the middle with the breakout pass. After all, it's 2018.
Well, some teams have rules about that. Some teams, John Tortorella in Columbus, demands eye contact. You need a visual before you make that pass, or at least strong verbal communication. But sometimes you can get fooled doing that.
Speaking of John Tortorella, you also see near Brian Wiseman's desk one of Michigan's assistant coaches. The popular line made more famous in the hockey circles by John Tortorella is safe in death. Back when he captured a Stanley Cup in 2004 with Tampa Bay.
And I mentioned all the Michigan first-rounders among the D, and I forgot to mention one of the best in Jack Johnson. And I know Jack watches a lot of Michigan hockey.
It's Andrew Ogilvie. Can't forget about Jack. Over skates it. Brendan Warren the other way. He'll grab his own dump in. Marody to Cutler Martin. Nicholas Boca. Cutler Martin. Gets it back from Marody. Off the stick of Wade, high and wide. Boca on the retrieval. Calderon on for Winborg. Danks is in front, looking for the availability of a rebound. Instead, plays it back to Winborg to Piazza. That's off a face mask. Never saw Cale Morris. Think about what would have happened there if there was no steel cage protecting the players. That was coming in high and hard. Winborg just out to center. Peak, the second wave, meandering his way into Michigan territory. That's deflected by Evans. Levine follows it. Gross shooting. Rebound laid loose for a bit, but it's stabbed away by Michigan. Will be an icing barely on the Wolverines.
It'll be an icing and a good one. As Hayden Levine, playing as well as I've seen him play, finding the puck through all kinds of traffic. Brower trying to take a poke at it. Gross, of course, so good at getting shots through. And Sam Piazza able to clear it down the ice. And this will be a Michigan timeout. And I think it's a good time to take it.
Yeah, no need to wait until the end of the game to take a timeout. Mel Pearson might want to talk to or a little rest here late in the second period.
Well, the Winter Olympics going on in Pyeongchang, South Korea, and Bobby Nardella, he's got Olympic experience from 2010 in Torino, Italy. His father, Bob Sr., obtained Italian citizenship and represented Italy a couple of times, so Bobby got to go and meet a lot of famous NHLers along the way. Dominik Hasek right there, Joe Sakic, one of his favorite players growing up, and Chris Chelios, who's with the Olympic team right now, and Mike Modano, the Westland, Michigan native. What a great experience, huh? When you're 10 years old, walking around the athletes' village with your dad.
And those superstars were all in the primes of their careers then.
Actually, the last time Italy qualified for the men's hockey in the Winter Olympics.
Right in front there, looking for a chance, was Cal Burke. Gross, winding, not firing. Burke. It's recovered by Josh Norris.
Bob Sr. was a great college hockey defenseman. Ferris State Bulldog, went on to a solid pro career, winning Turner Cup championships with the Chicago Wolves.
The old championship trophy in the old International Hockey League. Just over 2 minutes to go here in the Big Ten Hockey Conference battle between Notre Dame and Michigan. Notre Dame, #1 team in the nation, trying to avoid being swept by number 18 Michigan. Again, up the middle is the recipe for the breakout. Cam Morrison will drive it in. Oh, Boca just bulldozed on the forecheck. It was Colin Tyson. Mike Pastioff from his knees, trying to put it in deep. Cutler Martin protecting that blue line, but it's Evans and Morrison racing in. Dropping to Nardella. Morrison couldn't accept the pass. Nardella looked like he had a chance to hold it in, but it deflects out to center. You surprised to have seen a scoreless game between these two teams spread through almost 2 full periods?
Well, the difference in Michigan's game in the new year has been their ability to play defense first and generate their offensive chances from good defense. And that's Notre Dame's style to start with, so they're kind of nullifying one another in that regard. In this game, there have been good chances, but it's been great team defense as well.
Danks guns it wide. At one point, it was Michigan doubling up Notre Dame in shots. Now just a one-shot advantage. Calderon shooting, scores! Popping water bottles, Tony Calderon.
Number 17 for number 17, the 98th captain in Michigan hockey history for Jeff Jackson. It's the dreaded offensive zone turnover. Right up the middle. Marody, little drop. And Tony Calderon scoring in back-to-back games. He had one on Friday night in a 4-2 win at Notre Dame. And before that, the last time he'd scored had been January 5th in this rink. So his last 3 have come against the Fighting Irish, and glad to be back on track after going 11 without a goal.
You know how it is. Goals are like getting ketchup out of the ketchup bottle. You try and try, nothing comes out. Then all of a sudden, it all comes out at once. And that's what's happening for Tony Calderon, and it's a prime time for that to occur. Final regular season conference matchup, and the playoffs and Big Ten tournament are looming.
He led the team with 15 last season, and it was an offensively challenged Michigan team because Winborg and Lockwood were next with 8.
Hughes jumping up, Morris, rebound Norris, and it was Morris there to make the save. Norris versus Morris. We've seen that a few times tonight. Jake Evans. He's got a little help behind. Andrew Ogilvie blocker down by Levine, who will cover. Great sounds of college hockey.
Notre Dame trying to answer quickly, led by their senior captain, trying to answer. And just like Marody to Calderon resulted in the Michigan goal, the twosome that does it for Notre Dame is Evans to Ogilvie.
You get a sense why college hockey players, especially playing at home inside Yost Ice Arena, how they can feed off the crowd, the band, the kids. Sweet sounds of hockey.
Oh, and don't think these players don't know there's 30 scouts here too.
That too. Our Auto Owners Insurance Intermission Report. You got a Buckeye and a Wolverine back in our Chicago studios, Michelle and Paul, so always entertaining. 40 minutes complete here in Michigan, and it's Calderon. Finally, somebody breaks through, and it's the 17th goal of the season. It was a bullet off the stick of Calderon. Such an important goal all always scoring first versus Notre Dame, especially on a night when it seems like goals will not come easy between these two defensive teams.
Yeah, you wonder if one will be enough. Hayden Levine with that .915 save percentage over his last 11 starts, and he has given Michigan grade A goaltending, that's for sure. And Tony Calderon, the captain's giving them the lead.
Yeah, that was Mel Pearson talking to his goaltender, probably complimenting on his performance so far. Hayden Levine, another look at the handiwork. It was Cooper Marody. Little drop pass. Tony Calderon buries it. Michigan leads, and a little leap into the plexiglass.
Welcome to our Chicago studios for this Auto Owners Insurance Intermission Report. As promised by Dan Kelly, the former Buckeye Paul Caponegri joins the former Michigan Wolverine, Michelle McMahon.
Pay me so I have to be here.
And that's all right. We'll get along for now. But through 40 minutes of action, it was a battle of the goaltenders. But how big was that goal for Michigan to get up late in the second period?
Yeah, I mean, you could see how the game has been so tight, and then to get a goal late in the late in the period, set up. Cooper Marody gets it to Tony Calderon for the goal. So big going in for the intermission to kind of refocus now and have a huge 20 minutes ahead of them.
And despite being scoreless for majority of the second period, still an exciting hockey game. Let's recap all of the action just in case they're just joining us now. Michigan with the puck. The game still scoreless in the second, and it was all about the goaltenders. Cale Morris coming up big, shutting the door here.
Yeah, I mean, both goalies have been spectacular in this game. He goes post to post. He's done it all season.
Up
No
next,
difference here.
Notre Dame on the attack. Hayden Levine answers not once but twice. A big save for the Wolverines.
Yeah, I mean, shocking. We're talking about goaltending here in a 1-0 game, but yeah, another great play. Not giving up the big rebounds in front of the net. His defense doing a good job in front of him.
Things getting chippy out there as well early on.
Tense.
And in Ann Arbor, lots on the line as we talked about before. This would be a deciding goal here in the second period. Tony Calderon from the slot lights the lamp first, puts Michigan up 1-0. The captain doing what he does best, striking in his second straight game. That was a huge goal for Michigan.
That was the game right now, because you just saw, and now we're going to talk about it again, the goaltending, because it has been that good. I mean, we know about Cale Morris. I mean, his numbers are just, you know, astounding all season. But right now, Hayden Levine has just been even a little more of a story. But Cale, I love his game because he's so calm in the net. And I've talked to Jeff Jackson about it. He just nothing phases him. And I think that's kind of the story with any great goalie, is keeping a level head. And then with Hayden Levine, you know, we're going to see this same highlight again, but he gave up a little rebound, but then he sucks that one up. And then this one in front, I love it. He's got a guy right on the doorstep, and he's able to keep the puck in front of him and not allow a rebound. Because if he has a rebound there, Joe Wegwerth's right there to put it right in the net. So the goaltending has been great. That was a great shot from the captain. I mean, he's the reason he's a leading goal scorer in Big Ten Conference play. Put it right over his ear, one of the hardest spots to put for a goaltender to save, and it got Michigan the lead.
And for Michigan, you mentioned Hayden Levine's turnaround happened around Christmas. Is that more of a mentality thing for a goaltender, or was that more of just a rebound control and tactical thing?
Yeah, you know what? It's probably a combination. Maybe got on a roll. He's got his confidence working for him a little more. I think, you know, they were going back and forth with Jack LaFontaine, and maybe, you know, he had a talk with coach, like, hey, you're our guy. This is your net now. And I think sometimes that helps your confidence, knowing like, hey, I'm going to give up a goal or two. I'm not going to get pulled out of the game. And then you build off that, and look where he is now. Certainly helps to have a goaltender shutting the door, especially with a close game like this one. Michigan with a promising 1-0 lead over top-ranked Notre Dame. As we go to break here for just another moment, we'll have more from Ann Arbor, Michigan right after the break. What would a win mean for Michigan in terms of the pairwise and the NCAA tournament? Paul Caponegri recaps next. The Auto Owners Insurance Intermission Report will get you back out to Ann Arbor in the third in just a moment, because a huge game on the line for the Michigan Wolverines as they look to topple Notre Dame. And as we take a bigger picture look at the pairwise, and Kathy, what are you seeing right now in terms of the Big Ten, big picture-wise, at this point in the season for the pairwise? Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see that this year it's growing again. I mean, the top three teams are pretty much locks for the national tournament. They're kind of been rolling. Minnesota's got up to that area. It's that Michigan and Penn State area at 14 and 17. That's why today is so big. If Michigan were to win, they could move up to maybe 12 or 11, and that really boosts them up because you want to be 16, make it, but you want to be in the 13, 12 range to really solidify your spot. So that's where it is. Penn State and Michigan, are they going to be able to get up there?
Things looking good so far for the Wolverines with the 1-0 lead. How do they sustain that in a third?
Yeah, I mean, getting a goal late in a period is huge because, you know, a lot of times they say goal early in the period, goal late are the big plays. So can Michigan keep that momentum of getting that goal late? And then now is it don't hold back, keep playing the game that's gotten you successful at this point. Don't hold back and be scared to play your game in the third period.
The Wolverines need this win probably more than the Fighting Irish, and it is time now to send you back out to Ann Arbor. Dan Kelly and Fred Pletch with the awesome call to watch some awesome hockey. Stick around.
Well, the stalemate was finally broken in the second period after a lot of tries at goal.
Yeah, and if you're going to turn the puck over, as the Irish do here, kind of a bad bounce off a skate, you couldn't pick two worse guys to be standing there in Cooper Marody, the leading assist guy on Michigan, and Tony Calderon, their leading goal scorer. But watch the bad break here. Dennis Gilbert has the puck, and he tries to feed it to Bo Brower. Instead, it goes off Dawson Cook's skate right to Cooper Marody. And even though Notre Dame was having a better period out shooting Michigan 15-11, things turned right on that unfortunate deflection off Dawson Cook's skate.
And let's go back and look at that goal, and you see how difficult it is to be a linesman. Barely onside, it appears, Fred.
Yeah, Cooper Marody, watch. Dexter Danks, his foot is inside the line, and he brings the right skate back out. And it's something that Notre Dame could have challenged. They didn't. And as we saw at Michigan State the last couple of nights, you know, what do? You lose your timeout if you challenge.
You see how they're even more challenged here late in the year. The blue line kind of becomes faded, so it's difficult to tell where it is.
Yeah. So those guys have difficult jobs. The referees tonight, Pete Fiola and Joseph Carasone, and the guys responsible for those icing and offside calls, Nick Huff and Pat Richardson.
And I think they got that one right. I think that was onside.
I think that group agrees right there, enjoying life. One of the more unique college hockey settings. Yost Ice Arena, built in the early 1920s and still rolling. Amongst the oldest in college hockey. Second oldest is Quinn Hughes, staving off Tyson. Cooper Marody. They give him space, and he takes advantage. And down with the glove was Cale Morris.
Yeah, Cooper Marody, a pass first type, but if you're going to let him walk right down Main Street or State Street, since we're at Yost, he's going to shoot the puck.
Safely off the wall and out by Ciccone. Gross. Getting a stick on that was Malmquist. So no danger of an icing. Sanchez goes to the boards for Michigan. They kick it back to Peak on the point, redirected by Malmquist as Levine was out to nullify him. Ogilvy. Peak down low. Ricochets around. Andrew Ogilvy hops on it. Jordan Gross, the low shot, playing close to his goal line there. Hayden Levine gives them plenty of time to deal with it.
Well, after Friday's 4-2 win, Mel Pearson said of Hayden Levine, that was his best game of the season by far. When we really needed a game, he stepped up and was excellent, and he has just carried Friday night's performance on into Sunday's matinee and early evening contest. Hayden Levine has been solid.
Ooh, it squirts loose there. It appeared he had it covered up, but thankfully from Michigan's perspective, right to Brendan Warren. Steves, though, delays his exit. Warren, though, recovers it in just a simple clear off the boards.
Yeah, good sly little play by Brendan Warren, who was in position for the drop.
And he loses it. He has the speed to get back and take it back over. Jordan Gross sprays some ice. Harmless shot, probably going wide, but still snared by Levine.
Well, just a one-goal game, and Michigan is 12-1 when they lead through 40 minutes, and Notre Dame is just 1-5 when they trail after 40. The one win you saw right here on BTN, it was back December 8th at Wisconsin when the Fighting Irish trailed 2-0 after 40 and scored 3 unanswered goals for the win. And like many coaches this season, Tony Granato said, boy, I thought we played a really good game against Notre Dame, and at the end, we've lost, though.
They just methodically beat you 2-1, 1-0. At least 95% of this Big Ten regular season. Just a little rough patch here at the end with the playoffs approaching. First 3 minutes of this final period of regulation, Notre Dame down by 1. Wegworth loses it. The reach of Becker comes in, and they'll throw a long shot towards Cale Morris.
And we also saw them Penn State 2 weeks ago. That Friday night game, Penn State came out and they were just on fire, up 2-0, and you thought they were on their way. There was a video review of a goal, could have made it 3-0 at one point, but it didn't happen. And slowly but surely, you talked about that methodical process that Notre Dame has, that structure to their game that they don't waver from, and they came back and beat the Nittany Lions that night.
I think it's underrated too. Don Lucia pointed out they don't have a problem winning 2-1, 1-0. Some teams want to do it 5-4, 6-4, but they're happy just to win low-scoring games any which way. Cooper Marody twisting and turning out of the corner, protecting is Gilbert, and it's Andrew Ogilvie on for Dennis Gilbert.
And yet I've seen them score their share of goals in games too this season. A 4 or 5 goal outburst.
A little stick lift by Morrison allows Notre Dame to gain possession. Just as I say that, they turn it over. It's Josh Norris dropping to Calderon. Looking to go top corner once again. This time whipping up the left hand is Cale Morris. 2 weeks to go in the regular season. Time to remind you where everybody is at. The first couple of positions already secured. Now about seeding.
Yeah, Notre Dame will play at home against Michigan State next weekend. Senior night on Saturday for them, and then take a weekend off before hosting the semifinals. And the only sure thing we know right now is that Michigan State will be visiting Ohio State in a best-of-3 series. The third and deciding game would be 2 weeks from tonight.
And that's not an easy one, despite Michigan State rebuilding this year. They've got one of the best lines in college hockey, so you never know what they could pull off in playoff hockey.
Well, you know they'll be confident. They won their last game at Value City Arena 6-3 a couple of weeks back.
Michigan looking to expand their lead. Slaker from the boards, blindly in front, eventually arrives on the stick of Piazza as it's pushed to the corner by Morris. Norris angling off Peak. And then it's Norris grabbing it all alone in front. And that puck just dribbled away from him as he created that himself. Luke Martin, a few fakes. Will shoot it in. Sanchez. Malmquist will grab it and skate it to center. Second crack at it, and he says, why not? I'll just go for a little joyride into the zone. Leads for Steves. Raby recovers for Michigan. Brennan Warren. Just looking for space to skate. That's his big weapon. Number 11 in the maize and blue. Tyson, though, and Notre Dame on the counter with some numbers. Michigan, plenty of cover back. Is Boca there on Tyson. Dawson Cook, watched by Cutler Martin. Swung in front. There's Brendan Warren at the end of his shift. Still able to get up and go before he stashes it in deep.
That was just real dogged, determined man-on-man coverage in their own zone by Michigan. Tough for Notre Dame to get anything going.
Mike Pastioff stick handles his way in the low drive, whipping out the right leg, Cale Morris. Some heated conversations post-whistle behind the goal.
Well, with an assist on the lone goal of the game, Cooper Marody is now tied for the Big Ten scoring lead with 37 points, but behind the net, he goes into the boards heavily as Justin Wade with the forearm shiver, and Cooper Marody got up very, very slowly and made his way to the bench. So we'll have to keep an eye on the offensive catalyst for this Michigan team, Cooper Marody.
Enjoying a three-point weekend so far with the assist on the only goal tonight from Calderon. Hellickson has his stick eliminated nicely by Becker. He'll kick it back to Quinn Hughes on the point. Mike Pastyoff to Becker. Hellickson there to take it away, but not clear. Nick Pastyoff rolls it in front. Just underneath the stick of Ciccone. A penalty upcoming to Notre Dame. Levine to the bench, the extra skater. Roaming for Michigan, but not for very long. Holding is the call. It's going to go against Matt Hellickson. So Notre Dame down by one, will be shorthanded by one when we return to Ann Arbor, Michigan. To the power play, Michigan goes. Here's what occurred.
It's the freshman Matt Hellickson out of Rogers, Minnesota, with the grab on Nick Pastyoff. And the referee is right there. Could not have had a better look. And it's a complete wraparound, so tough to argue that when the Michigan player goes down. And you know, Michigan's power play has not been tremendous this season. 46 nationally, 19 goals, and 0 for 7 against Notre Dame this season. But all you need is one, and one would turn this game around and continue to turn the weekend around for Michigan. Marody's back out there too, by the way.
Good news for Michigan, especially with the power play starting right now. Joseph Ciccone. Wade there. Gets behind it for the Fighting Irish. Ogilvy a chance to clear it. Kept in with some help from Calderon. Marody. Calderon. Neat little play trying to direct it on goal, but it's blocked. And lobbed out to center. Jake Evans hops onto it with Ogilvy. Shorthanded. Ogilvy eventually finds that airborne pass and just stashes it behind the goal. 6 minutes gone in the third period. Flying over the line is Ciccone. He'll keep it with him as he puts it right through the goal crease. Quinn Hughes catching up to it. 70 seconds to go on the power play. Ciccone. Quinn Hughes. Good battle between Danks and Gross in front.
Gross hit the deck a couple of times.
Calderon, Dexter Danks, Quinn Hughes. Good movement here on the power play for Michigan. They're a team that can skate, so why not? Oh, and a penalty upcoming to Michigan. There's Dexter Danks. That battle's been going on for 30 seconds, and the third time is not a charm for Dexter Danks.
And I think Jordan Gross is joining him, though. Jordan Gross went down a little too easily. Yeah, they're both going.
So the plot thickens on the power play.
Just a little love tap post-Valentine's Day by Dexter Danks and Jordan Gross.
But prior, those weren't love taps. They didn't call those. So you can see maybe why Jordan Gross went down a little easy.
And Big Dexter came right back if we could watch this continuing. And that results in the call right there.
Cale Morris even getting a little jab in there. Piazza. Loose puck in front. Norris searching for it. That's recovered by Notre Dame and clear. Piazza unable to keep that puck in despite the hustle and offside against Michigan.
Notre Dame's penalty killing continues to allow them to stay close. Now, sometimes you'll be in a tight game and you'll take a penalty and give up a power play goal and it's 2-0, 3-0, bang, bang. But their penalty killing has been so good all season, just 12 goals against in 31 games.
Dello takes Warren down. Tucked in front, then squirting wide. Was Warren there in the midst of it for Michigan. Both teams at full strength. Bobby Nardella. Nice poke check and angle there by Piazza to eliminate Nardella. Raby. The takeaway. Brendan Warren's seen a lot of ice time tonight for Michigan.
Shea of forwards in the Big Ten. You know, Brady Shea was such a great skater, allowed him to step right into the NHL, and I'm not sure if Brendan Warren will step directly, but he'll play there someday, and he'll play there because of his skating ability that you've alluded to all game long.
Oh, Brady Shea, what a big beast he was. They could fly. He's still flying around.
Well, when you've got Ben Clymer as the president of your fan club, you know that you're headed for good things.
Certainly. Just under 12 minutes to go here, and Michigan hanging on to their 1-0 advantage. Norris there helps push it back. Big basketball game coming up after the hockey tilt here in Michigan. Penn State at number 6, Purdue. What a student section they have here inside Yost Ice Arena.
The children of Yost, and those stands used to come right down to the glass. And it's, don't get me wrong, still an unbelievable atmosphere here, but it used to be when the students were pounding on the glass against the opposing players. That added a little more character and color to the game as well.
Every night they warm up their voices by singing "Oh Canada" together as well, since we're so close to the Canadian border and some Canadians involved in this game. Ciccone, the shot, changing directions it looked like. Nice reaction by Cale Morris. That's why his save percentage is up around 95.
And with that Canadian flag, the maple leaf is not red but blue. Well, Michigan continues to keep the Fighting Irish on their heels. Josh Norris, he's got a little of everything in him. He's great defensively. He's got a bomb of a shot. He's got that nice passing touch, and he's pretty deft tipping the puck as well.
Marody off the faceoff. Looks to swing it in front, but well protected by Notre Dame. Gilbert. Missing the pass was Jake Evans, so it ends up being an icing. Notre Dame trying to find their form here with the Big Ten tournament upcoming. #1 team in the nation.
And you wonder, you know, a 16-game winning streak, a lot of things went right, a lot of things had to break right, and, you know, are they just getting some bad turns the other way, like the pass that went off the skate that led to the Michigan goal? And
it's the captain, the senior Jake Evans. Boca, a strong stand at the blue line. Second try, and Morrison will put it in deep.
this guy Godowski told us that, you know, he said, I'll guarantee you during our losing streak, or during our winning streak, we played not as well as we did during some of the games we lost.
Things so tight and close there with the glove save, Cale Morris. Bogus steaming in there, crashing into the goal.
Well, Quinn Hughes is the best pure offensive defenseman that Michigan has, but Nick Boca has shown no hesitation in joining the rush all season long and sometimes leading the rush.
Think you'd see players go that hard to the goal back in the day when those nets were a little more secure and it was like running into a concrete wall at times.
Not a chance. And they were steel pipes.
Bolted down. Becker. A little timing play for Nick Pastioff. Rush back to Luke Martin. Brother Mike Pastioff can't make the connection, but now fighting for it, gets some help. Nick Pastioff fanning on the shot. And it's Notre Dame motoring to center. Bo Brower will dump it in. Jenkins swings it in front immediately, looking for an opportunity. Josh Becker, one of the hottest Wolverines since the new year, to Pastioff. And a return pass, Peak there to intervene for the Fighting Irish.
You've mentioned that a lot tonight, dumping it in by the Irish, and Michigan's been carrying the puck in, and that results in a great differential in shot attempts.
Quinn Hughes looking for the right position to get the shot through. Looked like it caught a body, forcing it wide. Plenty of time and room for Bo Brower, and he realizes it. And he's able to make a tape-to-tape pass and go to the bench for a change. Just over 9 minutes to go. Hughes burrowed in behind his own goal. This guy can wheel too, Jake Slaker. It's a recurring theme up and down the Wolverine lineup. Raby to Josh Norris. Recovered by Notre Dame. It's Morrison. Weaves his way over the line. Morrison, the shovel shot block. Now to the point to Helix, and he's got some time. Out there to block it was Josh Norris. We'll take a quick break here with 8:29 to go in the third period. Michigan leading 1-0 on the second period. Goal from Tony Calderon. Well, last swept about a year ago versus Providence in the regular season. Notre Dame trying to avoid a similar fate 2 years ago, I should say, Fred.
Working on that new math for you, Dan.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, Notre Dame, the new member of the Big Ten, a seventh team, and since the 2013-14 season, participating as a member of Hockey East, making regular sojourns to the East Coast to play in that highly regarded conference.
So can Notre Dame find a late goal, the equalizer? They're capable of putting a couple on the board. But Levine has been near flawless this weekend.
That last faceoff resulted before the break from a Josh Norris block. Michigan blocked 21 shots in South Bend on Friday night and in the high teens right now.
Peak. Another block. That one's from Danks. Peak again. Looks like Cutler Martin blocked it right in front of his own goalie. Dexter Danks the dump, and now the chase. Peak's a big boy back there, number 22 for Notre Dame. Dylan Malmquist at center, but that's about it as it's fired right back in by Danks. Michigan has been a pretty resilient team during the regular season in the third periods. But now protecting a lead.
Well, we've talked about Michigan's team speed, and it's just as effective defensively as it is offensively, and they're just not giving the Fighting Irish players any time to make plays with the puck.
The Friday-Sunday series with the day off might be advantageous to Michigan, so those big wheels can get a little rest as we hear the whistle from a hand pass. Things that's turned around here. This is the third youngest team in college hockey, but the big thing is each player for Michigan has kind of figured out his identity, what their role is, and as a team they figured out the recipe for success and the game plan to follow, and it's being validated now.
And Mel Pearson said right from the start of the season, I know we're going to be a team that plays 60 minutes, and we'll look up at the clock at the end of 60 and see what the result is. So regardless of the score, they play hard. They have all season. And now that's paying dividends because they're playing hard with a lead late.
Norris's shot over the crossbar under 7 minutes to go. Shots 37-29, favoring Michigan. Hughes finally slowed up a bit.
Slowed up, but so quick. He went past Cam Morrison, came back, and got the puck again.
He'll lob it into Notre Dame territory as the Wolverines complete a line change on the fly. Gross, that pass a little behind Hellickson, causing an issue. That's why it's important to have the passes spot on, especially late in the game. Winborg angles out Hellickson. Dawson Cook couldn't secure it. Jammed in deep by Warren. Nice little pivot there by Torridello to exit the zone. Piazza off the stick of Winborg.
Yeah, just a simple little play to get the puck deep, allow Michigan to change, fresh players out to pursue the puck.
Trailing a goal, do you expect Notre Dame to alter their style at all here as they start to run out of time, Fred?
No, they'll just continue. You know the push is coming. Michigan just wants to limit it in terms of duration of time. And they're doing a great job because Notre Dame has not had possession inside Michigan's zone in the last 10 minutes or so. There has just not been any sustained pressure.
Trapping him in there momentarily with the two-man forecheck, Michigan. Boca whiffs on the clearance attempt. Cal Burke digging along the near wall, but it's Josh Becker up, not out. Jenkins the shot, blocked by Boca. Nardella. Peak intentionally off the boards. Nardella shifting away to get a look at the goal. That changed directions. I believe it hit the handle of the goal stick. Now the mask of Hayden Levine. Malmquist doesn't get that pass, so Michigan will toss it right back in. Dexter Dinks blindly in front, can't spot Cooper Marody. Here's Dylan Malmquist. Dennis Gilbert will take it wide, looking for any room over the shoulder. That's the problem when you miss the net. Morrison and Ciccone getting the elbows and hands up a little high. Wade, good keep in with the right leg. Quinn Hughes. Josh Norris comes to help him as well. And Hughes perfectly high off the glass and out without taking an icing. But able to partially change. The other way is Ogilvie gloved down by Levine.
Good stop by Levine. Ogilvie, one of the best on this Notre Dame team at shooting in stride. Levine had the glove on it.
These are two teams not scoring a lot, but just playing some good hockey. Not a lot of mistakes. Hence, only one goal. Hellickson has it leaked by him. Notre Dame offside on the way in We've seen this a lot. The little rub-outs, the angles. Michigan doing it perfectly tonight. There was Adam Winborg. Needs to be a little more energetic and raising his voice a touch here late, trying to get the attention of his team. Jeff Jackson, you know him well, Fred, over the years and his coaching philosophies. When does he usually like to pull the goalie?
He's more conservative. So I would think around the 92nd mark. You know, we've seen Steve Rollick at Ohio State, 215, 220. There was a coach at Lake State that Jeff worked for, Frank Anzalo. If he was trailing by 4 goals, he would pull the goalie with 10 minutes left in the game. And famously, one game scored 6 goals with his goalie pulled and tied it and won it in overtime.
Philosophy is, who cares how bad you lose if it gives you that scant chance to win it or tie it. I heard a whistle there after that puck was dropped, but they play on. Bobby Nardella peeked a low shot that didn't miss by much. Martin wraps up his man. Piazza chipped up. And it's Pastujov helping it all the way down into Notre Dame ice.
And I like what Mel Pearson did. He's coming off a TV timeout, could put any of his 4 lines out. Who's out? 2 freshmen and a sophomore, 4th line, and that just shows confidence, and that's what builds a team.
Confidence at its highest level of the season for the University of Michigan hockey program right now, especially if they can pull off the sweep. Versus the #1 team in the nation, Dennis Gilbert. Ogilvy shooting, block, Morrison off the goalpost. It just dropped to a stick and Morrison hits the post. That one's well off frame by Jordan Gross. Under 2 minutes to go in regulation. Shoved right through the crease. Morrison. Ciccone to block it. Morrison again, he's at an active shift. Can he keep it in? Yes, there goes the goalie to the bench. Cale Morris for the extra attacker. 90 seconds left, and it's trapped underneath the Wolverine. Ciccone for a whistle.
Cam Morrison stuck at 5 goals this season. Earlier, during a 16-game winning streak, this would have been in the net. Earlier in the season for Michigan, it might have been in the net when things weren't going so well. Instead, watch 26 cruise in, puck right in his stick. It's bouncing, it's rolling. He does whatever he can to get it on net. And maybe a little glove, a little pipe for Hayden Levine. And now we're into timeout territory. Michigan has already used theirs on a second-period icing call, so this is a Jeff Jackson timeout with 1:31 left in regulation.
There's a nice sight there for Michigan's coaching staff, though. The players were all gathered in a little huddle, having their own timeout before the puck was dropped.
Hayden Levine making his 12th straight start. He's carried the mail for Michigan ever since the GLI. The last time a goalie other than Hayden Levine started for Michigan, January 1st. And he just gains confidence and gets bigger and better, it seems, every game. And tonight he's been perfect on 31 tries by the Fighting Irish.
Children of Yost have brought their rafts in case they go for a little swim.
And as we look at Michigan and kind of the team camaraderie and chemistry they're building, last Saturday night I was able to be on the Michigan bench for a game at Little Caesars Arena, home of the Red Wings. And Hayden Levine's biggest cheerleader is Jack LaFontaine, who's competing with him for playing time. It was really good to see the relationship relationship they've developed in the way that Jack supports the guy who's getting the start.
Notre Dame's net is empty. Extra attacker on. Michigan immediately flicks it over the glass. So they can't change. Billy McCulsey over there, it was deflected, but probably just trying to pull one over the refs.
Well, Jake Evans, best face-off man in the conference.
He lives up to his billing there when they need him. Ogilvy shot off of Norris and wide. Minute 20 to go. Dylan Malmquist, Andrew Ogilvy. Gross to Nardella. Slings it down low. Boca the block. Puck is still available in front. A scramble. And Michigan plays it to the point, but not out. Rebound. Ogilvy just puts it wide. There it was. 45 to go. Notre Dame looking dangerous. Gross. That's blocked before it arrives on goal. That one as well. Piazza, 2 blocks, and the rebound put wide by Evans. 30 seconds. Levine, the save, and he takes care of the rebound as the clock taking forever for Michigan.
Andrew Ogilvy with a dozen on the season, and the junior from Fullerton, California, with a glorious chance. He's the uncovered guy off to the left, and as he snuck in, he gets a stick on it, tried to catch up to it, and you'll see the reaction of the Notre Dame bench. Yeah, Matt Steeves tells you all you need to know. Gloves to the head.
Notre Dame has beaten Michigan in 7 of the last 9, and here on the brink of getting swept, though, by the Wolverines. Their net is empty, but Marody just trying to play it down, not towards the goal. 15 to go. Burke shooting. Ooh, that was a dangerous puck, changing directions a few times. For the first time in 2 years, the Fighting Irish are swept. Tonight, it's by the Michigan Wolverines.
Third shutout of the season for Hayden Levine. That none compares to this 34 save effort.
What a night for Michigan. They earned that one. Once again, our final score, the Wolverines sweep Notre Dame thanks to their Sunday night work, a 1-0 shutout. Make sure and stay right here as you'll see one of the best hoops team in the land as the 6th-ranked Boilermakers host the Nittany Lions. For my partner, Fred Pletch, I'm Dan Kelly. Thanks to our BTN crew. Good night from Ann Arbor.